Hi, my name is Antoinette Mobley. My roots lie very deep here in Bayview Hunters Point. My mom retired from the Peninsula Linen Exchange on Cesar Chavez. We called it Army Street. And then our family, our extended family, grew up there at Double Rock Projects. So I'm Bayview. All right. My family is from Shreveport, Louisiana. And back in the late 50s, they migrated to the Bay Area for job sakes. And my mom's, when she made friends in the Bay Area, they told her about a job here in Bayview Hunters Point. And my mom took a job here. She met friends here. We met extended family here. And I love it here. My roots are deep here. So my family migrated here from the South, from Shreveport, Louisiana. And my mom took a job here at the Peninsula Linen Exchange here in Bayview Hunters Point. And I remember when we got a little bit older and were able to take public transportation on our own, my sister and I, we take that 15 3rd Street bus, and we come after school and visit my mom at her job. We'd stop and say hello, and then we'd travel on from there to our friend's house, who we stayed with until after school, after she was off work, that lived in Double Rock. Yeah, so we take that 15 3rd Street bus, and that was our routine. And we'd stop off at TikTok Burgers. It was the only place we were allowed to stop off. And we'd get burgers and fries, and we'd hit Fitzgerald Street, and we'd take that long walk all the way to Double Rock Projects, right, where our extended family, the Washington family, lived. They were a family of 8 children. And there were girls and there were boys in the family. So we had to stay indoors most of the time when we visited there, because my mother learned that it was kind of dangerous in that project. And since we were children who had never been around any of that type of housing development, it was very different for us. So we stayed inside, and the only time we were really allowed to leave that house was when we went across the street to Candlestick Park to the Giants game. So I've been a Giants fan all of my life. So, I think it was 2007. I was contacted actually by the Mayor's Office of Economic and Workforce Development. And they had been generously funded for a neighborhood beautification grant to do some revitalization of the 3rd Street Commercial Corridor. And I was very hesitant in the beginning, although the job sounded very, very exciting. And what the job basically entailed was for someone to come out here and kind of brave the waters and help to revitalize this 3rd Street corridor. There was lots of vacancies. Storefronts were blighted. The sense of poverty was just so prevalent. And I thought, wow, this is going to be a tough job. A primarily African-American community. I remembered it when I was a child. I was limited in, with my freedom in terms of where I can go and where I was not allowed to go. So all of that came into play when I was approached about this job. And I asked the employers, I said, if I can come there on that 3rd Street Commercial Corridor and just spend a little time there, I need to see I need a sense of what it feels like today. This is before I took this job. And I spent a couple of days here on the corridor, and I discovered that there was an organization here called Positive Directions Substance Abuse Recovery Program. And they were right there at Newcomb and 3rd. And I was so glad to discover their office, made me feel comfortable. And when I went inside and I had inquired about who was running the place, and I saw my old friend Craig, I called the mayor's office and said, yeah, I'll take the job, because there was security here. I was afraid. I was really afraid to take the job here on 3rd Street. After about a year I'd been on the job, or maybe less than a year, one of the property owners here, they asked me, he's a Latin guy, his name's Sergio, and he opened up a coffee shop here on 3rd Street, and at a very, very difficult time when it was really hard for new businesses to come here and remain here. And he approached me and he asked, "Hey, Tonita, what do you think about us opening up an art gallery?" And I go, "Wow, well, we don't have one here." And I said, "Well, let's do it, you know." He had the property, he had the space, the location was right here on 3rd Street. And I said, why not do it? So we organized, and he reached out to a couple of artists and the local artists here of Bayview Hunters Point. And so when the meeting convened, guess who walks in? Brother Malik Seneferu, right? All tall and dreaded and, you know, serious about his artwork. But he was so delightful, especially when I found out he was an Aries like me. So we became friends just right away, right? We just clicked. And so the art, the form of art took place, and it helped take shape, and it helped to, I don't know, it brought people together here in Bayview. Kind of softened things, you know, when the whole art scene kind of arrived. The future for Hunters Point. What I've learned about art is that art brings commerce, right? And as, you know, many of the people, you know, it's not that people have not tried to evoke change here, you know, or to implement change here, or to improve the quality of life here in Bayview Hunters Point. It was a struggle about how to. So when art came on the scene, art brought people together. It brought people onto a common ground. It helped people to really release their fears, whatever they were. It bridged the divide of the mindset of folks who really kind of lived in silos here, you know? And one of the things that I learned about the folks that live here in Bayview Hunters Point, and just, you know, even merging that with my own childhood experience here in Bayview Hunters Point, people didn't talk to each other. They didn't trust each other. And although they held power in their hands, they didn't know exactly what to do with it. So they just held on to it. And the power was they had property here, you know, right here on the 3rd Street commercial corridor that's just been sitting and turning into blight, because now these buildings are empty. And no one's really doing any type of renovation. They said, oh no, we're holding out. And we're going to pass these on to our children. While, you know, paint's peeling and windows are all busted out and everything, right? And I'm just thinking, but wow, the beauty, there could be so much beauty, you know, behold here on this 3rd Street commercial corridor. We got the greatest weather here. So I feel that with art, when we began the arts movement here with the 94124 Art Gallery, when I first met Brother Malik Seneferu, people began to come. People began to open up with one another. People began to divulge information about their private matters, even how much money they had in the bank, and, you know, maybe how much they'd like to contribute to help out. But there was this whole deception of, but the city's always promised us. Why should we take our assets and pay for the change? And I asked the question, why not? We live here. It's where you live. It's where your children live. You're a stakeholder. You have ownership here. How do you create a legacy here? And none of those things were spoken about. before art came into play, because everybody held on to their own and they shut the rest of the community out. But art brings energy, a type of energy that brings collectiveness. It's inevitable, because when you bring art together, it all just unifies, you know, whether it's music or whether it's visual art. You know, it creates harmony. And so I look at art as really being one of the most fiercest tool when it comes to healing, when it comes to forward movement, when it comes to breaking down those resistant walls. Art's powerful. And so we use art today. If you look around the corridor and along the 3rd Street commercial corridor, you see murals that have emerged where there was blight before. So when people pass a certain area, they can smile now. You see, there's different conversation. There's a different sense of being. People have let their guards down, you see, through art. And as a musician myself, I played clarinet as a child. I've sang all my life. I've sketched all my life. We listened to music all my life. And so that's what I brought here. I said, this is a community of music. We need music. That's our culture. Shit, we slam dominoes. We play chess. We like to sit in the park and be amongst one another. We like to chill on the plaza and engage. And it just brings, you know, beauty just abounds when art comes into play. Because again, it breaks down the walls of division. And it brings in a subtleness of peace and togetherness. And it unifies us. That's what art does for oneself. That's what art does for a community. And that's what art does for the world. And so one of the things that I said to my employer when they first offered me the job as their 3rd Street commercial corridor manager, I said, we have to retell the story of Bayview through media. And it has to be done through media. It has to be done through art. And today, it's happening. And I'm so thankful that I stuck in there, because it wasn't an easy journey. And it isn't an easy journey, but it's a joyful journey. And it's a heartwarming journey. And I'm in it for life. That's why I'm here in Bayview. I love it here. I moved here after I took the job. And it's wonderful. Art does heal. Thank you. Oh, yeah. My childhood memory of Hunters Point is Candlestick Park. I have to tell you all, because it was the only time that we got a chance to really go outdoors and experience our neighborhood here in Bayview, right? So then there's only 9 games here, home games here, right? But those 9 games during the summertime, or however many games happen during the summertime, are the funnest. I don't know how often we paid to go into a game, but I think the funnest memory was how we got in the game, right? So there's this big old hole in the fence, right? Where the bleachers are. And we'd leave out and we'd hit that hole. So we're inside the grounds now. So we travel underneath the bleachers, right? Until we figure no one notices us. And then we appear in one of those aisles or rows and we pop out and, gee, we've got seats now. I remember Bat Day and Cap Day and, you know, we had all these special themed days for us kids when we went there. So it was truly, truly a joy. And them TikTok burgers, oh my God, being able to go to TikTok, it's the hamburger joint that was here in Bayview Hunters Point. Man, they make the best burgers, aside from Miss Lorraine's out of Oakland, right? So those are my memories here. And I think one of my greatest, as I think about it, was being able to catch that 15 3rd Street bus and go to my mom's job. We could always visit my mom because it was just a walk like a block over from the stop at Army Street. And that way, because my mother never drove a car, you know, we didn't have vehicles and stuff. And she was a single parent, so we got around on Muni. And so, yeah, that was a very favorable memory. Just going to visit Mom, taking that 15 T3rd bus.